Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a drawer box that is compatible with side mount drawer slides. Okay, so I've been making drawer boxes for 12 years, maybe 13 years. I've made maybe 500, and this method is definitely the easiest way to do it. So when you make a box, you can either make it so that the front and back overhang the sides, or the sides overhang the front and back. The way I do it is I do all the joinery on the front and back. The joinery here, I'm using Kreg screws. It's very simple, it's very easy, and all of these panels have a groove. All four of them have a groove. But if you make the box this way, you won't have a little hole in the side of your box. But if you do it this way, you'll see there's a hole here. But in the front, there's going to be a fascia panel here that covers these screws. So that's why it's good to have the joinery on the front and the back. And I use pocket screws, therefore the screws are not visible from the ends, so you don't see anything from the outside. So the first thing you do is make the drawer sides. I use Baltic Birch plywood that's 5/8 of an inch thick. It's approximately 15 to 16 millimeters in thickness. 3/4 is just too thick, and 1/2 inch is too thin. So if your drawer side is 14 inches, make the side of your box 14 inches. The next step is to determine how wide to make the front and back panels. Where my drawer is going to be inserted into. So what I do is I take the side panels and I stick them on one end, and then I measure this opening, and I subtract exactly 1 inch. So that is 17 7/16. So the front panels will be 16 7/16. Next step is to put the front panels in the hole and measure the space left over. This should be exactly 26 millimeters. See that? If it's less than, if it's 25, your drawer is not gonna, it's gonna be too tight. So 1 inch is actually 25.4, but it's always good to add about 1/2 millimeter of space. Your drawers will open and close much more smoothly if this ends up being 26 millimeters. So you can cross cut it in the table saw and trim a little bit off until it gets to 26 millimeters. Measure the thickness of your bottom panel. Mine is 4.5 millimeters. And make the groove accordingly. My groove is 6 millimeters. And make it, if your groove is 6 millimeters, have it 6 millimeters up from the bottom, and make it slightly deeper than 6 millimeters deep. Cut the grooves for the drawer using a dado set. I do not recommend using router bits on a router table because it tends to chew up this edge. But if you use a dado set, it won't chew up that edge. Okay, this is how I assemble the drawers. These are the side panels, they go like that. Okay, so this is the back panel. I lay it like this. This is the front. Make sure all the grooves are down. Just line it up like that. And this is the easiest method I've found. Just take a parallel clamp, stick it like this, tighten it down. Use a dead blow hammer to use your fingers to tell if the gap is. Okay, once you got it lined up, just make sure your grooves are, make sure this is nice and square. So this will, when I compress this, it'll push in there. Okay, so now it's nice and tight. I use 1-inch Kreg screws. Bring the door to the front edge. There should be 1 inch of space between the edge of your drill and the front. Make sure you adjust the clutch on your drill and put the speed on slow. Okay, to figure out the width of the back of the bottom panel, flip the door around to the back side. Stick this in here as a spacer. This is the back of the door, which hasn't been inserted yet. You should use a hard ruler for this. It works so much better. Stick one end all the way in, and then the door bottom should be between here and there. It should fall somewhere in the middle of this groove, slightly more than 50%. It shouldn't be so tight, because if your cabinet is not totally square, and then you'll have a little bit of wiggle room in the squareness of your door if you don't make your door bottom completely tight. So I do not recommend a completely tight door bottom. So it should fall just about in the middle of this groove. So that would be 16 and 13/16. Insert your door panel, bottom. Insert the bottom panel like this. I usually stand it vertically, and then stick this in here. Once it's in there, I kind of squeeze it, put it back on the table. Put on the clamp. Make sure it's pounded in all the way. Oh, this is another thing I like about Kreg screws. They have square bit drivers. Screw doesn't fall out. I hate Phillips. Don't use Phillips. Okay, so the next step is going to be, how do you attach these thingies? That's the next video.